ladies and gentlemen, this is your lecture on the endocrine and nervous systems, as you saw. Before we can get into those two systems, what we need to start with is a little definition for homeostasis. Kind of the purpose, the big reason why I'm making this lecture for you, this recording. And to start with that, we're going to start with my friends here, Sheldon and Penny. So we'll let them take it away, and then we'll get going, dive a little deeper into these two body systems in just a second. Now we're going for it. Come on, Sheldon. So, as my friend Sheldon here was attempting to explain to Penny, homeostasis is that system's ability to regulate itself, to maintain constant, to just kind of stay normal. So, there are two body systems that you have that control all of these things. They are the nervous system and the endocrine system. Hence the title to this lecture. So we're going to get more into this wheel, this whole thing that's happening here, but essentially this is what Sheldon just explained. That there are things that happen, there are things that notice they've happened, there's something that's in charge of it, and then there's responses that are happening. Sheldon doesn't like that this happens. He just wants everything to stay exactly the same. We're going to come back to this concept, we'll study it more in depth. But right now we need to focus on this part up here at the top, and we have two body systems that are super important for this. Your lecture is going to be broken into this one, the first part, the first body system, and then there'll be a separate lecture, it'll be a separate body system. So we're going to do 13 and 14 in this video, and then there'll be another video for the other body system, and that'll be on slides 15 and 16. So, control systems. If you have not already typed this at the top of 13 and 15, that's where this needs to go. So we are talking specifically about the major components. We're going to do the hierarchical systems, the way you just saw it, for these two systems because they're super stinking important. So we're going to start in this video with the nervous system. This is going to be pages 13, and then we'll get into 14. If you don't have your notebook open right now, you need to open your notebook and you should be looking at slide 13. It'll be blank. It'll look essentially like this, and we are going to fill in all of the various text boxes and open spaces on here. To save you some time, I have already grabbed pictures for you, but we are going to fill in the inside information on the rest of the boxes. So, the first thing that we want to start with is just the whole system and how does that function. So the nervous system is the big picture, what we're talking about. That's the name of the whole system. The point of your nervous system is you want to be able to take in and respond to sensory information. That does not always mean it is a poke when you touch your finger against something sharp, or you stub your toe on something, or you touch a hot pan. It's also involuntary things that you do that are responses to the environment. Eating food, digesting that food, breathing oxygen so that your cells can continue their functions. Okay, so don't think of it as just sensory, like I touched something hot, but it's basically the whole world around you. Your nervous system has two components. It has the central nervous system that you can see up in the top of the picture. And your central nervous system is made of your brain and your spinal cord. Those are going to be super important here in a second. And then your nervous system is made of your peripheral nervous system. Your peripheral nervous system stems from your spinal cord, and it goes out to every single piece of your body. So you have nerves that go to your pancreas and to your lungs, and you have nerves that go all the way down to your toes, and you have nerves in your eyelids. They are all over your body. It's this huge, really super awesome network. In your brain, I told you we cared about your brain and your spinal cord. Really care about those two things. But it's not just your whole brain. I mean, your whole brain is important, but really what we care about is this little tiny organ on the inside called your hypothalamus. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't look like its own separate organ the way some of the other pieces in the brain picture shown here do, but it's a region. But it's super stinking important, and its name is the hypothalamus. It's so important that we know that it's a region, but we just call it an organ anyways because it's that important and it deals with so much. Your hypothalamus is the reason that you can breathe on your own, digest food without thinking about it, go to the bathroom when you need to, and be able to hold your waste products in from your excretory system and then release them at the appropriate time. It's the reason that you can flutter your eyelids. It's the reason that you can breathe in and then breathe out without thinking about it. It's the reason that you sweat and without thinking about it. It's just an automatic function of your body that happens. And it's all controlled from this little tiny organ that's right in here. It's why we care so much about traumatic brain injuries, because if you mess up that hypothalamus, you mess up things like the ability to sweat, the ability to have your heart beat normally, the ability to breathe, digest food, take care of your waste products. You name it, you mess that stuff up, and that's a huge issue. The other major organ that we care a ton about is going to be your spinal cord. And we don't care about the bone that covers the spine. That's very closely related, and this system runs through those bones, but those bones are a totally separate system. Those bones belong to the skeletal system. The information that we care about, the things that we care about, is the spongy layer that's in the middle, and it's because of the spongy layer that you have all of that automatic functioning in your body. Your spine connects your brain all the way down through your back, and it's the bundle of nerves. It's literally just like a highway. It holds all of the nerves, and then you have all of these nerves that are running through your spinal cord, and then they exit in the correct spaces through a spinal nerve, and then they head off to the various organs in your body, your pancreas, your eyelids, your fingers, your name an organ, your heart, and it's connected, and the reason that that organ can function is because it is connected to your brain via your spinal cord and one of those nerves. The next level of organization that we're going to talk about is the tissue. Hopefully you were able to say that before me. In the tissue, it's a little bit funky with the nerves, and it's kind of like the muscular system if I tried to steer you away from that, or if your teacher steered you away from the muscular system, because the tissue is kind of a weird thought process for a nerve. So you see all these red bundles here? Those are individual nerves. We tend to use the same word here, which is kind of weird. Bundle enough of these all together and we make tissues. And the reason that you want to bundle them together is so that you can actually get to your target organ. You want to get where you're supposed to go. Or you want to be there and you want to be able to relay information to the brain like, hey, that pan was hot, move your hand away from it. Hey, we just received some blood glucose, we should probably figure out what the heck we need to do with that, okay? Oh, we need some more oxygen, this person is exercising, we're not getting enough oxygen here, figure out what to do with that. It's nerves that actually send those impulses through your spinal cord up to your hypothalamus in here, okay? Where it gets a little funky, where it gets a little tricky is because we tend to say nerve and you think of this. when we say nerve, you need to think of this. You need to think of a whole lot of neurons packed together. A neuron is the name of the cell. It is the individual component that we are talking about. Nerves are what actually transmit those signals, and they come out of these terminal branches here. They're like finger-like projections, and there's all sorts of those elements that we just studied, CHNOP. There's a few more. But they are what leave there, and then they enter on the opposite end of another neuron through the dendrites, and it's this super cool, think of like electricity. If you plugged a bunch of electrical cords together, that's essentially your nervous system, and it transmits signals from one end all the way through to your brain or target organ, depending on what needs to happen. Okay, so neurons are the cells, nerves are a bundle of neurons. Okay. You should have a chart now that looks like this. If your chart doesn't look like this because you couldn't type at the speed that I was talking, then you need to hit pause and go fill all of this in on your chart, and then when you're ready, you come back to me in this recording and you hit play. Once you have a beautifully filled in chart, I need you to label your coloring sheet. This is what all the pieces are, so I want you to label the brain, the spinal cord, the nerves, your afferent nerve, your efferent nerve. Okay, so that's going to be nerve number 1 and neuron number 2. Those are coming and going nerves. We give them ever so slightly different names so we can trace the pathway from brain to organ and back to brain. I want you to note the sensory receptor. It literally is a cell. We're going to get in and talk about some super cool sensory receptors later on. I want you to note the nerve endings. Remember, those have special names. And then the direction of the flow. So here is what you actually have in your notebook. And you're going to take those different words and you're going to stick them in all their boxes, and then you have 2 arrows. I want you to use those arrows to indicate direction of flow. Okay, one needs to come into the brain and one of them needs to come out of your brain. Once you have done that and you have a beautifully constructed picture and a beautifully constructed chart, then I want you to watch this video. I don't have enough time in this recording to play it for you, and I want to give you time to play it so that it comes out right on your computer and you can listen to everything. Once you have done that, go to the bathroom, take a breather, touch your toes, jump up and down, get out your chair, like seriously get out of the chair and go walk around, but don't get distracted and do not touch your phone. And then go do slides 15 and 16, okay? Take a brain break, not a phone break. You're still learning here, ladies and gentlemen, and you still have some work that needs to be done on the next body system. I'll see you after your stretch break.